Welcome to our exploration of the nuclear winter that could silence the world. In this video, we delve into the harrowing concept of nuclear winter, examining its catastrophic potential and the chain reactions that could stem from a nuclear conflict. We'll discuss how a global temperature drop, massive firestorms, and sunlight blockage could devastate agriculture and lead to mass extinctions. Join us as we uncover the historical near misses that have brought us to this brink and explore what can be done to avert a future shrouded in nuclear darkness. 1. What is nuclear winter? Nuclear winter is a terrifying hypothetical scenario that scientists have been warning about for decades. It refers to the severe and prolonged global climatic cooling effect that could occur after widespread firestorms following a nuclear war. When nuclear weapons are detonated, they release an enormous amount of energy, igniting fires that send soot and ash high into the atmosphere. This dark cloud of particles would spread across the globe, acting as a barrier that blocks sunlight from reaching the Earth's surface. Without sunlight, the planet's temperature would plummet, creating a winter-like condition that could last for months or even years. This scenario is not just a figment of science fiction but a potential catastrophic reality that could silence the world as we know it. 2. Global temperature drop. One of the most immediate effects of nuclear winter would be a dramatic drop in global temperatures. Scientists predict that within weeks of a nuclear conflict, temperatures could fall by as much as 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius, 18 degrees Fahrenheit to 36 degrees Fahrenheit. Such a sudden and severe decline would plunge the world into a deep freeze, reminiscent of an ice age. The chilling temperatures would be relentless, affecting every corner of the globe. In regions that are usually warm, the cold could be deadly, while in typically colder areas, it might become completely uninhabitable. The human body, accustomed to relatively stable temperatures, would struggle to cope with such extreme changes. The widespread cold would not only be uncomfortable but could lead to hypothermia and other cold-related ailments across large populations. 3. Massive firestorms. The detonation of nuclear weapons in urban and industrial zones would trigger massive firestorms. These aren't your average fires. They would be intense, raging infernos that consume everything in their path. The heat and energy released would be so powerful that they could create their own weather systems, further exacerbating the destruction. As these firestorms rage, they would release millions of tons of soot and particulate matter into the stratosphere. This material, once aloft, could remain suspended for years, continuously blocking sunlight and maintaining the cold conditions of nuclear winter. The scale of these firestorms would be unprecedented, leaving behind charred landscapes and a sky filled with darkness. 4. Sunlight blockage. The soot and ash in the atmosphere would drastically reduce the amount of sunlight reaching the Earth's surface. It's estimated that solar radiation could be cut by up to 70–90%. Imagine a world where the sun barely shines, casting a perpetual twilight across the globe. This reduction in sunlight would have dire consequences for life on Earth. Photosynthesis, the process by which plants produce food, would be severely disrupted. Without sunlight, plants can't grow, and without plants, the entire food chain would be thrown into chaos. Ecosystems that rely on photosynthesis would collapse, leading to a ripple effect that affects all living organisms that depend on those ecosystems for survival. 5. Collapse of agriculture. The impact on agriculture would be devastating. Crops rely on sunlight to grow, and in the absence of sufficient light, they would fail. This would lead to widespread crop failures and a significant decline in food production. With freezing temperatures compounding the problem, traditional farming would become nearly impossible. As food supplies dwindle, famine could sweep across the globe, threatening billions of lives. The scarcity of food would lead to increased competition for resources, potentially causing social unrest and conflict. In a world already grappling with hunger issues, nuclear winter could exacerbate food insecurity to an unimaginable scale. 6. Ozone layer depletion. Beyond the immediate climatic effects, nuclear explosions would also harm the ozone layer. The intense heat and radiation from these explosions would result in chemical reactions that deplete the ozone, a protective shield that guards the Earth against harmful ultraviolet, UV, radiation. With a weakened ozone layer, more UV rays would reach the surface, posing significant health risks to humans and animals. Increased UV exposure can lead to skin cancer, cataracts, and immune system suppression. Additionally, it can damage aquatic ecosystems and reduce agricultural productivity, further compounding the challenges faced by a world in nuclear winter. 7. Mass extinctions. The harsh conditions brought on by nuclear winter would make survival difficult for many species. The drastic changes in climate and environment would push countless species to the brink of extinction. Those that survive would have to adapt quickly to the new conditions, a feat that many may not be able to achieve. The loss of biodiversity would be catastrophic, affecting ecosystems and the services they provide. Plants, animals, and even microorganisms play crucial roles in maintaining ecological balance, and their loss could lead to unforeseen consequences for the planet. As species disappear, the interconnected web of life would unravel, leaving a barren world in its wake. 8. Global fallout and radiation. In addition to the climatic and ecological impacts, nuclear explosions would release vast amounts of radioactive fallout. This fallout would contaminate land, water, and air, posing a long-term threat to life on Earth. Exposure to radiation can cause a range of health problems, from acute radiation sickness to cancer and genetic mutations. The environmental damage caused by fallout would linger for decades, making affected areas uninhabitable and disrupting ecosystems. The cleanup and rehabilitation of contaminated regions would be a monumental challenge, requiring resources and expertise that may be in short supply in a post-nuclear winter world. 9. Historical context. Near misses. Throughout history, the world has teetered on the brink of nuclear conflict. One of the most notable examples is the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, where a standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union brought the world perilously close to nuclear war. Such events serve as stark reminders of the fragile nature of global peace and the devastating potential of nuclear conflict. While humanity has managed to avoid nuclear winter thus far, the threat remains ever present. These historical near misses highlight the importance of diplomacy, communication, and restraint in preventing a catastrophe that could silence the world. 10. Avoiding nuclear winter. Rochester, in the northern part of the state, experiences its fair share of wind. The city's location near the White Mountains contributes to its gusty conditions, particularly during transitional seasons. This can present challenges for residents, especially those living in exposed areas. To adapt, Rochesterians have embraced wind-resistant building techniques. Homes often feature reinforced roofs and siding to withstand the elements. Community initiatives focus on educating residents about weatherproofing and energy efficiency, ensuring that everyone is prepared for the windiest days. In conclusion, New Hampshire's windy cities have fostered a resilient and adaptive spirit among their residents. Through clever design, community support, and a touch of ingenuity, these cities have learned to thrive despite the blustery conditions.